And now, another episode of Donny Boast's Weekly NFL Flash with your host, Donny Boast.
Ladies and gentlemen, Week 2 is already underway, which means Week 1 is in the books, and Week 2 so far has started off just as sloppy and crappy and ugly as most of Week 1 was. But luckily, Week 2, tomorrow, Sunday the 17th, 2017, we have some good games in the NFL, some good matchups, and some aerial assaults that are going to scream over. We'll get to that in a second as we quickly review the week that was. Again, it was pretty sloppy. A couple things jumped out really early on, of course. To carry over into Week 2, the Bungles are bungling. And they are bungling worse than they have bungled in a long time. They have already fired their offensive coordinator after failing to score a touchdown in the first 2 weeks of the season. It is really ugly what's going on over there in Cincinnati. Really ugly. The Houston Texans, of course, have made a change at quarterback. They made that change at the end of the first half of Week 1 as they were getting annihilated by none other than the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Oakland Raiders look good as they went into Tennessee and won last week. Watch out for those Raiders, we're telling you. Meanwhile, across the way, the New York Football Giants, they miss Thunder and Lightning. They miss Tiki Barber of all players. They miss Pat Summerall. They have no running game, and Eli needs one, and they got crushed by Dallas 3-19 out there in Texas. The Saints looked ugly going into the Vikings, and there's already scuttlebutt and hubbubaloo going on with Adrian Peterson. Not what you want to see in the early going. The Pittsburgh Steelers edged out the Cleveland Browns, who put up a pesky fight, and that's about what you're going to see from them. And what else can we say? Sean McVay, the new coach of the Los Angeles Rams. Yes, the Rams. They ceased to be the Lambs after absolutely obliterating the Indianapolis Colts 46-9. They looked really good. And it wasn't necessarily that the Colts looked terrible, but the Rams did look good. The Packers beat the Seahawks, and we expected that, and it was not the shootout we were hoping for, but it was still a solid Week 1 win nonetheless. The Racists lost to the Eagles, who looked okay, but they looked okay at the beginning of last year, and that's about all that was really of note, other than the Jets and the Bills being absolutely dreadful, and the Patriots coming out lifeless, arrogant, and entitled as the Chiefs thumped them 42-27 in a very explosive game for the Chiefs. Moving on to the rest of Week 2, as we already said, the Bungles completely bungled again, but we have some other great matchups as we said earlier. Tennessee going into Jacksonville. Tennessee's favorite. I like Jacksonville to win outright. This line has already moved in favor of Jacksonville, and I like them to win outright at home. Cleveland going into Baltimore. This was another line that's been moving all over the place. A lot of people don't think Baltimore can put up points. I don't think Cleveland can score any points. I think Baltimore wins by 10 to cover the 7.5. Buffalo going into Carolina. Buffalo is 7.5-point dogs. That's a tough one. They suck. I like Carolina to cover this one. New England going into New Orleans. Here's a high-flying, explosive matchup. The over-under is 53.5, and you got to take it. Brady versus Breeze. Gotta take the over on this one. It should be an explosive affair. Right now, the line has moved from 7 all the way down to 6 on some boards. I like New Orleans to cover the 6. Again, it's going to be an explosive battle. Arizona going into Indianapolis, and Arizona's favored by 7.5, but they just went into a dome last week and laid a duck, even though Andrew Luck is not playing. I don't really know what to say. There's also no David Johnson. Stay away from this board. If we had to pick a side, I guess we can pick Indy to cover at home. Philadelphia going into Kansas City. Should be another high-flying matchup. I like the over on this one, 47.5. I think KC pulls it off and covers the 4.5. Minnesota going into Pittsburgh. This line also moved in the early goings. And Pittsburgh is now favored by 7 or 6, depending on where you're going to get it. I like them to cover. They usually win big at home in their opener. Chicago going into Tampa Bay. What a disgusting matchup. stay away from this one. You have to take Tampa Bay because Chicago is absolutely dreadful. Miami going into the Los Angeles Artists formerly known as the Superchargers. The Superchargers will win this game and cover the 4 points. Whether this game goes over 44, I think it should. But I like the Chargers in this game. Some people like Miami, I don't. The Jets going into Oakland. It's the biggest spread of the week. It's been anywhere between 13.5 to 14 to even as high as 14.5 and 15. Well, I like the Raiders to win big because the Jets are going to win maybe 2 games this year, and this is not going to be one of them. Home opener for Oakland. Look for Marshawn Beast Mode Lynch to run all over the Jets. Washington Racists at the Los Angeles Lambs. The Rams, they will prove they are the Rams as they will obliterate the Washington Racists and cover big. They're only favored by 2.5, but I like them big. Dallas at Denver. I like Denver to win. The line has moved down to a pick'em. San Francisco at Seattle. Seattle 13, take them. Green Bay at Atlanta. Here's another high-flying action. Take the over at 53.5, and I like Atlanta to cover the 2 at home. Detroit going into New York Giants. I like Detroit to win outright on the road on Monday Night Football. We're going to have some good matchups. We're going to see what the teams are and if they are really who we thought they were. Again, Green Bay and Atlanta. Wow, what a game that's going to be. Tune in for that one. Tune in for Brady and Breeze in the morning. Green Bay, Atlanta is the night game. Again, excitement across the boards. At least we hope. To kick off here, week 2 of the 2017 NFL season. I'm Donny Boast, and we will definitely see you next time.